I think we have something very, very special. For those who might not know, there's Social Wave and then there's Box that run full time. And then Level Asian is just on top of that. Everyone is very strong glue to bring everything together.
Are you sure you didn't rehearse that, by the way?
Yeah, that was too well articulated.
Welcome to the Level Asian podcast.
He had really bad sinus. He had his headphones on. His sinus must have just opened up and you could hear like the most serious conversation with Michelle. He just stopped and we looked at him and he's like,
Just my nose.
I had my team meeting and I said this, let's not focus about the money or the numbers. Let's focus on making more babies.
you said that.
I got to sing Angel by Shaggy featuring Ray Vaughan.
That's pretty good. It was good. It was a good rendition.
Angel, you're my darling angel, 'cause the mommies you are to me, baby.
Before we get started on today's episode, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded, the land of the Darug people. We would like to acknowledge and pay respects to our elders past and present and the next generation coming through. Now, onto today's episode.
Welcome to Level Asian's 2023 yearly recap episode. This one's super special because not only do we have the four faces of Level Asian, but we also have the incredible behind the scenes team. So just to introduce everyone, we have Kelsey, who manages the post-production. We have Tony on ops and tech, Kathy on distribution, and our incredible videographers and photographers, Mish and Edward.
Forgot his name for a second.
What the
dog.
The thing, the creature.
The creature.
Our wellness dog, what is it? Therapy dog?
Emotional support.
Emotional support dog, Kuma. It's been a crazy year. I don't know if you guys are starting to reflect now that December of how intense and big this year has been, not just for Level Asian, but for each of you individually. So before I throw it to you guys, I'm just gonna read out everything that Level Asian has done this year. So it started with the Cabramatta Fairfield City Council Lunar New Year store.
Forgot about that one.
There was Vinh Zhang's Carter event, which is 320 people. The Canton Kitchen event with Jason and Junda, 245 people. Then Level Asian was represented on panels at South by Southwest, the SWEH conference, Haymarket Chamber of Commerce, Asian Australian Foundation, and University of Western Sydney. We released 34 podcast episodes. That's the ones that we released. We recorded more on top of that. There were more than 15 vlog content pieces recorded, collaborations with a bunch of amazing Asian Australian content creators. We hit 70K on Instagram.
70,000.
50K on TikTok, did trips to Melbourne and Adelaide to shoot content, and there was of course the Social Wave Bali and Singapore trip. That's just for Level Asian. Then personally, you bought a house, you've grown your family, you've got a dog, Hudson turned 1, Davie got married and his business has won multiple accounting awards, and then Noel and Viv had their own traveling adventures and have hit major goals in their careers as well. I'm exhausted just reading that out loud. How are you guys feeling reflecting on the year that was?
Did that all happen this year?
We also celebrated our first birthday. That's the key thing.
Well, it happened in the last 12 months, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Did I miss anything?
Vinh Zhang's one was...
Vinh was
This
April.
year.
Holy shit.
It feels like 2 years, hey?
Yeah, it actually feels like 2
Because
years.
the podcast has only been around for 18 months, I think.
Oh, we also traveled to Melbourne to do a shooting.
He said that.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Clearly not listening.
Oh my God.
ADHD's kicking
No,
in.
I was just like, oh man, that's insane. No wonder I feel so burnt out.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how much we did, especially the number of episodes and the number of filming actually we did on top of everything else that we did as well. Yeah.
We should be happy. We should be so happy, but
Yeah.
it's just like we're so burnt out.
Yeah, trying to get shit done, basically. But
Well,
that's why we got the crew, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For context, this is going out in January. So I think maybe we should be a little bit more excited about the new year starting. I don't know.
Oh,
We're reflecting.
Yeah.
So
It's
for
just
those
insane.
listening, we are doing a reflection now in December so that we can put this into production and then release it to you guys in January. But these are our reflections of the year, and then we'll probably end on a nice high note of what we're looking forward to in January and beyond in 2024 as well.
Holy shit. Still can't get over how many things that we did. And it all happened pretty much this year.
Yeah, it's a big production.
Oh, shit.
5 years from now, Davie, when you look back at 2023, what are you going to remember the year for?
well, obviously I got married that year, so Shirley won't let me forget that.
To me, that.
What's second best?
I think we had our Christmas party, a few days ago, with obviously the Level Asian crew, Social Wave, and Box. And I think I was looking back and I was just like, holy shit, like we finally did it. Like, you know, all the goals I set out for myself, you know, building a company and, you know, helping my friends start their own and doing things that I really wanted to do for my family. We finally achieved it, or very close to achieving it. So I was just like, maybe this is the year that I can finally say that I've done what I needed to do.
I feel like you were a bit more relaxed this year near the second
the
half.
end, yeah.
Yeah.
I've decided that like I've taken way too much on, like, and I need to take a step back.
Yep.
And that was a big reflection this year. That it's just like I've taken too much on. Like, why keep chasing for the stars? Like, let's just settle for what I currently have and be in the present and enjoy it. And I think health is a main point of my life right now. Obviously, like I kept getting sick, and Shirley just kept saying that you keep getting sick and you need to look after yourself. And yeah, I think the main thing for me is just get back on track of like health, take a step back. And I think growing too fast and too much and taking too much on, you end up not doing a good job with everything. And I realized that, so I need to take a step back, and that's why you probably see me more relaxed.
Yeah, definitely.
And just whatever.
You've also traveled a lot this year as well. Hey?
Yeah. I think some of the traveling though was, you know, Shirley went to travel and it was for others.
Yeah, because like how many trips did you do? You did like...
Man, I don't even know, man. Probably like 5 trips or
Yeah, you
something.
did quite a bit.
Yeah. But BOXAS trips for friends and myself and like weddings and then obviously I only had like really one trip for myself, which was I think it's slow trip. But the rest was like traveling for others. Yeah. So it didn't feel like I had much of a holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were obligations.
And worst part was I was working while traveling it. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. And I went back to China for you know, family reasons, and there's just so much traveling for others. Yeah.
Yeah, I think health thing was definitely a big thing for me. Like especially now the second half. Like I was telling these guys, the last month or so, I feel like my body just like gave out. Like it was just to a point where I was telling you, I was like getting really bad indigestion, and that was like a sign for me to slow down. And it was like really ironic because that was the week the Asami episode went out as well, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I need to like actually slow down. And it took me probably a good 2 weeks to like feel back to normal. But man, those 2 weeks were like pretty rough. So even though we achieved a lot, but I think also it's a balance thing for us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't known you for like super long, but I think this is the first time I've seen you actively recognize like burnout and like I need to take care of myself.
Am I in denial most of the time?
Which you know what's funny is probably everyone's like finally Can has finally realized
Finally
that
slowing
we're
down.
burning out, and all of us, and we're like, we can finally take a breather.
Sorry guys, sorry to drag you along.
Would burnout be a defining word for your year, Viv?
Probably, but I wrote a few reflections down after looking at your questions that you wanted us to like think about. And I think this year has been a big one, if anything, but it's also been a very, very fulfilling one. And one of your questions was, what would you change about 2023? And I don't think, in a lot of situations for myself, I guess, I don't think I would ever go back and change anything, but instead it's more of a reflection of what can I do better next time, or what would I change next time? And I think for next year, because of how crazy this year was, the thing that I would change is for us to all kind of take our time a little bit more and just to be able to process the achievements that we've had, especially those small wins, big wins, insane wins like that Carter event, which was crazy. And just being able to actually take the time to think about what we're doing is probably really, really key. Because I know that we had so many opportunities. It's a case of you don't want to say no, like this is the only moment we can do it. But I think it'll always be there because our team is so incredibly strong. I think we have something very, very special and we're all going to always be here no matter what. So that's just my thoughts.
I think for me, being the new guy coming in, I like see like all the goals that you're kicking from the outside, and then I come in and everyone just like go nonstop. And I recognize that no one takes a step back to be like, hey, this is actually something really cool that we did, and celebrate it instead of just like moving on to the next thing super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that problem.
Yeah, we got a massive problem with that one.
Yeah.
Just because we don't celebrate like the stuff that we achieve too much. I remember when we finished the event at the Canton Kitchen event, it was just like straight into, I mean, obviously we had some social wave stuff. We had Bali coming up. And
Because we always book the next event, like the Vinh Jang event. We had the food event right after.
Yeah, straight into the next one as well. Yeah. But then I think on the counter argument is like how can you achieve what we do if we weren't so ambitious as well? So it's kind of like you have to get that balance, and I think we're still trying to figure it out right now. Like I think next year definitely we would like to do something a little bit more balanced as well, and I think we talked about that as well. You know, simplifying it.
My mindset and way of thinking about that is like, if you don't push yourself, how do you know what your potential is?
Yeah.
And then once you reach your potential, you're like, okay, then you can decide, which is kind of like what's happening with me right now, where, well, maybe I'm talking too highly of myself, but like basically I've reached to a point where I've hit my, like the goals I've set out for myself.
Yep.
All right, well, do I want this? Do I want to continue, or should I aim higher? And that's where you need to recalibrate, like, and start thinking about what the next steps are. But that helps you achieve your goals. If you take it too easy and you don't set yourself goals and you don't push yourself, then you're never going to realize what your potential is. You're going to burn out. There are a lot of times where you do burn out, but that's the natural way of, you know, hitting goals and achieving things.
You say that as well. Like sometimes you just push yourself to limits, and then you realize it's gone too far, and then you have to reel back a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you don't get there, you don't really know where you can sort of like draw the line, right? When it comes to this stuff.
I think that's probably, sometimes maybe it's a bit too extreme, but that's how I just do things. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just like the first 18 months of Level Asian. Also, we experimented a lot as well because we didn't know how far we could even take this.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think we went all in because we were like, why not? Just to see what we can push, how far we can push ourselves. And I think now we know our limits. We know what we're good at. We know when we need to take breaks. We know, you know, how our team works and how what our dynamic is like as well. And we also know who we want to work with and the type of, you know, community we want to build. So I think the next year is more just, now we know our limits. It's just more like, how do we be smart about this and do this in the most
true, instead of saying yes to everything,
Yeah.
which I think we were doing a lot of.
Yeah.
Exactly. Last year or this year, sorry.
Now, what are your learnings from the year?
Oh, I don't think I've learned anything, to be honest. I don't think I've had the time. Yeah. I think it's honestly like it's just been kind of put your head down and just go. I think the learnings has just been to like, obviously trying to find balance. That's an important thing. Slow down when you need to.
Are you actually doing that though?
I'm trying. It's a work in progress. Christmas is coming up, so looking forward to actually using that time to recalibrate as well.
Yeah. I find that you only have the time to think about, like, you know, the last year when you have the time to take that break.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah. It's like when you came back from Japan.
If we look at our calendar for this year, there was something happening like every month.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after Vinh Jang, like 2 days after the event wrapped, we bumped out everything on the Carter, wrapped up for that week, and I was in Japan like 2 days later.
Oh, true.
as well.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like the Canton Kitchen event and the next thing, and then Melbourne, and so I think we had something happening like every month. That was a big thing. So it actually, I guess, the biggest learning is to just try to find those moments to actually just enjoy it and reflect and be grateful for it.
So not for like Level Asian, but for you personally, if you look back at 2023, would you have changed anything?
No, I wouldn't actually. Yeah, I think I'm the type of person that'll probably be like, I could have done this better, or we could have made smarter decisions. But I think we also learned a lot this year as well. Not everything went smoothly. Like, as much as we kind of, put a lot of pressure on ourselves, there's always behind the scenes things to sort out and technicalities and issues. Events never go smoothly, really. And I think we were successful in pulling off in a way where our guests didn't even notice most of the time. I think some things differently would have just been like, for the next time, we would have take all of our learnings from this year and apply it to the next thing. But personally, I wouldn't change anything because we needed to go through that to learn this.
You basically need to learn from your mistakes, right? If you don't learn from your mistakes, then you're gonna make mistakes later on down the track. So I wouldn't change it as well.
But I also think about the flip side. If I'm just thinking about let's say other people who want to do what we do, and do they have maybe the ambition or the ability to do it? I would say this is what Viv means by something special, which is you've almost you've assembled the right team and the right goals, the right ambitions to be all that stuff has to come together for this thing to work. It can't just be one or the other and just in bits and pieces. It's pretty crazy. If you think about how hard it is to assemble, after you rattle off everything, There's a long list for 12 months.
a really long list.
Yeah.
And
really
the crazy thing is that like I feel like our team goes through our ups and downs like throughout the whole year, but we're still together.
Yeah.
And we still want to keep continuing to do this. And that means a lot. Like same with my team at Box, like, you know, we go through very tough times with the business and with, you know, issues at work. But I feel like everyone has that common goal. And that's why it's possible for us to make the mistakes, push ourselves, burn out, and then come back together and go, you know, let's keep moving forward. And that, yeah, I agree with you 100% that we've got a great team. So yeah,
Definitely.
What have you found as the biggest challenges in your personal life, Ken? Because there's been a lot of big steps that you've taken this year.
I've said it before. I think like trying to juggle like family commitments, especially with a newborn. Well, he's 1 year now, but like, yeah, still a child, with all of my commitments. And so it goes back to like I don't know, like balance is obviously maybe not the right word, but trying to make sure that I am leaving time for family as well. So even now, like I try not to overcommit to stuff. Like, for example, you know, we had something on yesterday, which I know got cancelled, but, you know, I spoke to Viv and I was just like, if I don't need to be there, is it cool if I'm not there? Not for any other reason. Like, I haven't had like, you know, Iris say anything to me, but other than to like go, hey, I'd rather be at home and be present, at least, you know, for a portion of time as well. So moving houses was really helpful. It was a very expensive way to fix this problem. But what I found really helpful, and I was joking to Viv about it as well. I was like, have you noticed I haven't been sending you as many messages during
No, we were
after
in the car together, and Sempton was in the back, and it was silent. And Can turns to me, he's like, "Do you realize that I haven't been sending you messages late at night? I've been doing a really good job at it."
just patting him some of the back. No, hey, I don't work that hard anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the same thing. Like we used to do a lot more of that, and that's the thing that I'm trying to say. Is like I feel like by having you know, a larger home. I lived in like a 1-bedroom apartment before. Those who've been there, it's very small. Especially once you had a kid, it was crazy. Everything like bled into each other. It was like, you know, personal life and family life and everything in between. You just couldn't get away with things. But now just having like separate spaces for separate purposes. I leave my, you know, phone in the rooms. I don't check my messages, none of that. It makes it easier. So like environmental change like helps a lot. And that helps me basically switch off. And the crazy thing is that I know this in logic, but emotionally it was like really hard for me to detach from that because I was always like, oh, maybe there's someone who needs something. But then letting that run for, you know, the last month or so, I'm like, you know, there's no real genuine emergencies. Like things can wait.
But I guess like just so you know, like the business has been doing a bit better than what it was like a few months ago.
True.
So that's probably helped you as well to not think too much about it. It's been tough for a lot of businesses. Sorry, I'm putting my accounting cap on, but so that's why like it's been a very stressful time for a lot of businesses. Yeah. So it's good that it's finally happening. I think that's quite normal, like for businesses, for us to go through our ups and downs and recognize it and be okay with the downs and just fight through it together rather than like, you know, give up.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, my time with reflection, I realized that, man, like I'm putting way too many too much time on things that like don't mean that much to me. So I got to really wind it back, and I think it's
Like
okay.
Give me an example.
So for example, like this year, like, yeah, I got married. That meant a lot. But I also traveled to so many things, did so many things with traveling that maybe I should have said no to. You know, I went to weddings, I went to bucks, I organized bucks for friends. And then I traveled for family purposes, Shirley side. And then I helped with different businesses. And then I also tried to like help my family businesses, like my family's starting businesses, and I tried to help them out as well. And I was just like, man, I need some time to myself, and I need some time to focus on, you know, myself. And Box took a lot out of me as well. So I always kept trying to like do Box full time and then do the other things on the side. So basically it meant there's no time for myself and no time for me and Shirley. Yeah. So that was the biggest problem. Like I always kept telling my staff, yeah, I'm doing elevation. Yeah, I'm doing all these other things on the side. But full time, I'm always here. I'm always doing my 40 hours.
Box didn't compromise. It was like you were still there for Box the whole time.
Yeah. And then I think now the team's trying to say, Davie, like, it's okay. You don't need to be here full time anymore. Like, and
Writing down notes.
yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
the team's funny. So when I took leave last week, I literally turned off the laptop and it's funny because the guys came back. I came back to work and everyone's like, "Wow, you really turned off the laptop this time."
Yeah.
Like we would ask you a question and you wouldn't respond for days. And I was like, yeah. For me, I just felt like, oh wow, these guys have really kicked ass. There was a few reasons why the whole team kicked ass, and me, it's like finally my time to like, you know, just pass it off, pass the torch to the the next.
Do you feel like
guys
you've
to
got
take
more
over.
trust in your team now that you've gone through that week?
Yeah, I do. The team's. I trusted them the whole time, but I think it was just me not.
You had to let go, right?
Yeah, let
it was just
go.
really freaking hard.
Yeah, because I just felt like if I let go, then it wouldn't be fair for them. You know, they're not the business owner, and they're not the ones that are running the ship. Why do I push it on to them? They didn't pay. They weren't paid to do this.
Yeah.
So I always kept feeling bad. But yeah, I think these guys are doing really well now.
I had an old manager who used to say, we're not surgeons, so like if things go poorly at work, like no one's going to die. And I think that helped the team back then kind of reframe, like, okay, we don't need to reply to emails at 9 p.m. just to make sure things get over the line. There's a life outside of it as well, which seems it's like cool to see that you guys are starting to recognize as well. Viv, reflecting for you, what are some of like the really special moments or the moments that you hold closest to your heart when you look back 10 years from now on the year?
Are you saying like if I 10 years from now, if I looked back, what
would stick with you the most?
stick with me the most about this year specifically? That's a good question. It's the only question I didn't write notes down for. If I were to pick top 3 moments, it would be that moment we were standing on stage at the Carter event and all of our team was up there and we just looked over the sea of people and just being able to make it physical, because we're all online at the moment. It's podcasting, it's social media, it's everything. But actually seeing physical people supporting us and telling us, hey, we really enjoy listening to your podcast. I think that was really, really special. And that was the first in-person event that we did. The second thing was having and celebrating our first birthday here with a close community and inviting like the close people that were on the podcast or helped us out through this year. That was really, really special. Again, being able to bring it to life and see everything come together. And then I think the third thing is more of a feeling of being able to appreciate how special our team is and how much we all support each other. As I reflected over the year and had little interactions throughout the year, I heard from other people and just about their teams and whatnot that, they had little holes or they weren't really happy or they just didn't have a certain connection. And that just solidified what we have as a team. Like, for those who might not know, there's Social Wave and then there's Box that run full time. And then Level Asian is just on top of that or beside it as well. So it's like these 3 things running in the background that everyone has commitments to. But all in all, like we said before, everyone is very strong glue to bring everything together.
Yeah.
That's a really great reflection, but all 3 of them are Level Asian related. I want to...
I just want to say, man. Are you sure you didn't rehearse that, by the way?
That was too well articulated.
I'll say real quick as well, like I have to mention the team because like we have like weekly meetings and like I'm gonna be real, like we don't do any editing.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't do any of the, like we just show up on camera and we look good, but I think like the team definitely.
Are we sure he looks good? Everyone agrees that they look good?
Sometimes. But the team pulls it together. When we run the events, it's not just us. It's like everyone. We can't do. We got to pack up some stuff after this. Like it requires a whole team behind it. It's not 100%. Like I know it sounds cliche, but it's 100% not possible if you don't have a great team. And everyone does their part, no matter how big or small. And I don't think I've ever had a situation where everyone's like, not possible, can't do it. It's always like, yep, we'll figure it out. And I think that is a massive thing because I feel like we've seen over the last 12 months, a lot of Asian Australian podcasts slip away. Like they just have a real hard time keeping consistent. And that's because a lot of them are trying to juggle their full-time jobs whilst trying to do this on the side. And it's not easy. And you run stuck in between yourself. So you know how bloody hard it is to do that, right? So anyway, I'm just a quick shout out to obviously our team and I'm sure they'll say something soon, but yeah.
Adios.
Anyway, personal.
Can you throw it to someone else while I think about it?
Let's get to know.
Personally, oh man. I mean, obviously Japan was a huge thing. Vin's event, yeah, like Viv said, actually physically seeing that many like faces, because like leading up to that event, like we were just all just like putting our heads down and just working to make it happen and coordinating a lot of people, emails back and forth, doing a lot of like logistics and not actually seeing like the gravity of what we achieved until that moment. I mean, that was crazy. So that was like unforgettable. The other unforgettable thing was Sharina's performance. For me personally, that was
She was
I
good.
think like literally that moment was special.
It was
too,
very
right?
special.
It was so
Yeah.
special,
It was so
but
special,
to
yeah.
be even more
And then when
special.
Davie got on stage, he got extra special.
Yo, Dave,
Wait till I get naked on stage.
Rich doing his dance as well. Like it was good to actually
It was
just
just,
like
it was great to see the community get vibing in it, and it was
yeah.
just this, yeah, it's just this feeling that you'd get like when it's very surreal, and that surreal moment. I think when you were mentioning Viv about the surreal moment when we were on stage, I felt the same when Sharina was on stage as well.
Agreed.
Just seeing everyone like being so happy.
Lights were off.
Yeah.
Phone torches were on.
You don't get that in a networking session. Like I've been to so many networking sessions, and I'm like, holy crap! Like this is special. Like our community really loves this, or they might love her, but one of them.
Yeah.
No, not us.
it was just good vibes, man. It was like random to see like what we put together. It was like a well-known TikTok performer and like amazing performer in her own right in a kitchen in Bankstown.
Yeah.
But somehow it just worked, and everyone was having a good time, and it was a good vibe.
What about you personally, bro?
Personally, though, I mean, look, Vin's workshop was really good as well from a personal development stage. Like, it pushed me out of my comfort zone for sure.
You
But
look really comfortable though during that workship. I
oh
gotta
no,
say.
I was just like I was shooting bricks
Should have seen
inside.
the Lord of the Rings thing that you did.
Yeah, that was fun. I realized how good I was at charades. So if you guys,
Why, were you Golem or something like
yeah,
that?
pretty good. I was Golem.
You weren't there.
No, I didn't see it.
Do you want to tell the story of what happened? So you were doing charades. One of the activities was charades.
Yeah.
And what was it? Lord of the Rings came up.
Lord of the Rings came up, and then before I got up on stage, Vin's like, "Oh, I feel bad for you, Noel. This is a hard one." I'm like, "Okay." So the word comes out, Lord of the Rings, and I do like a Golem impression and pretend to take the ring off the guy, but the person guessing it, and he got it in like 2 seconds.
Oh, nice.
But you got on your knees and you did like this.
Yeah. Like, it's iconic. Shout outs to Peter Jackson.
Everyone got it straight away, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got to sing Angel by Shaggy featuring Ray Vaughan.
It's pretty good. It was good. It was a good rendition. Yeah.
No, that was cool. But it was like personal development wise, like, that was great because I was like, I didn't think I could push myself that far out of
I
my
think you
comfort
need to do more of that. Like go somewhere. And,
But it was one of the few weekends where Noel was like not working.
Yeah.
And actually just like concentrating on
Yeah.
yourself.
And like it did kind of backfire a little bit, not gonna lie, because something bit me in the ass on that Monday. But I think it was worth it because I was just like, we're at the airport and like the flight was delayed and you guys were all working.
Yep.
And I was the only one with my laptop shut, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be like physically present.
Check out.
Like, yeah, mentally present.
Yeah.
For this weekend because I don't want to be distracted, and I got a lot out of it, honestly. So.
but yeah, just so you know, like I came back from my leave, and sometimes you just need to stress test your processes in business. Like if you can't step away, then you're not really running a business. You're
It's a
just working
well-paid
with someone.
job, yeah.
Yeah. So you need to start building processes in place that can like take over while you're away. And you should take the leave and you should like turn off your laptop and not work, because then you can test if the processes are actually working and then fix it. Yeah. So I have yet to fix all the problems that I have to deal with.
But we've identified it. That's the
Oh my
progress.
God. My first day back, I was like, I don't want to go. I need a holiday. I need to have a holiday. It was crazy, man. I guess for me, I think the biggest thing, and it happened really early on, was my realization that like what I really wanted in life. I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing accounting and running a business for a very long time, running a business 7 years, accounting for 16 years. And people always ask me, like, aren't you bored? Or you always go like, like, is this really what you want or what you're doing for your family and your friends? Oh, yeah, and loved ones. And I started realizing this year that I don't know what else I would want to do, because I love working with the people that I work with. I love spending time with them, and I love achieving things with them, like achieving greatness with them. And we've just done so many cool things that I think when I was 10 years ago, I would dream of like winning awards, you know, doing like a non-for-profit like this, like, you know, Level Asian, and just being able to inspire, impact the next generation. And we're doing every single thing with just great people. So that's what I realized. This is my calling. This is what I really want to keep continuing to do.
Yeah.
Even if I take a break and I do something else, it's going to be something that inspires the next generation. Spend time with the people that I really enjoyed working with, and, you know, just build a community. So that we realized when we created that event with Vinh in April, and when Vinh got onto the podcast and he said, I think I realized what's special about you guys. And he basically said that you guys just do things you love with the people you love. And then once I realized that, I was like, holy
Makes
crap.
sense, eh?
Yeah, this is, you know, when every time someone comes to me and says like, is this really what you want? I'm like, yeah, fuck yes, it is. And that's what I realized this year. Like, that's the biggest like learning curve.
It's like a revelation for you, basically. Yeah.
I'm like, now I can just go on and just push myself. And then, you know, the next 6 months I push myself too much. Put the hell out. Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Millon Wines. Millon Wines are an award-winning family-owned winery located in the renowned wine regions of Barossa Valley, Eden Valley and Clare Valley, presenting a fusion of vineyards that seamlessly infuse new technologies with old world traditions. Their vineyards capture the essence of each region, delivering distinctive wines with complex flavour profiles in small batches, a minimalistic approach that allows the fruit to speak for itself. Explore their range at www.millonwines.com.au. Now, back onto the episode.
Well, I don't know if I have 3 specifically, but I think what I've seen, I guess, over the last 12 months is just really been around, I think it's more about like reinforcing, like if we're in the right direction or not. Because like Noel said, we tried a lot of different things. And I remember we had that one catch up and we were like, you know what, let's just go back to simple, like, you know, what did people gravitate towards for? And one of those big ones was really just around, they love learning from other Asian Australians. And I think, I wouldn't say it was like necessarily one thing, but the one thing that I really loved was just being able to build relationships with people we otherwise like never would have been able to, you know, connect with as well. And so, you know, Vinh is like obviously a classic example, but there's like heaps out there. Every guest that we can think of has led to like really amazing friendships and relationships that you will take away beyond like the podcast and things like that as well. I mean, on a personal level, like we listed out before with, you know, a house and, you know, having a child and things like that as well. I think it's definitely the second half of the year has been more focused on like looking after myself, I guess. And that's like not even intentional. It was just because circumstantially, you know, of everything that was happening, I felt like I need to. We had Bali, and I think Bali was one of those moments where I was just like, oh wow, like the whole team is together. That's like something I'll look back on, you know, in 10 years and go, this is like freaking amazing. But I was actually watching that Netflix show, Blue Zones. I don't know if you guys have seen it, where like this guy, it's like a 4-part series. He goes out there and he just learns about what makes these zones in the world have people who live to like 100 plus. And I just binge watched it like on one weekend. I was so fascinated by it. And one of the, he's got all these factors, but one of the big factors is people saying, like him observing that people still were doing things that had a purpose. Like purpose was like this common thing across all the blue zones. And the second thing was just general happiness and laughing. And I thought, wow, like this is an interesting observation, because if we were simply doing, like if I was simply doing Social Wave, I'm not sure. Like it wouldn't be like necessarily the thing that I'd want to do forever. It doesn't give me like the crazy amount of purpose that Level Asian does. The purpose, the happiness, like all the laughter that we get up to with Level Asian, that sort of stuff. Like I think actually in a funny kind of way, whilst it does cause me sometimes mental health issues, also helps me, you know, from a health perspective as well. And so like that as a overall observation for the year, like after watching that like a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, this is like a very interesting observation, how this sort of all comes into play.
Yeah, I find that like you need purpose in life to be able to live. Yeah. Because if you don't have some sort of purpose, weird thing is like, you know, when I broke up with my partner like a long time ago, I think I just lost like my purpose. Like I just didn't know what I want. So I just you know, didn't do anything at work. I just work my 9 to 5, make money, spend it all, and just do stupid crap. And until, you know, I found another love story. And then that's when I started going, all right, I know what I need to do. And then I started a business and then focused on myself and focused on the business and focused on the whole family because I had purpose. So yeah, I totally agree with you that you need some sort of purpose to be able to, you know, live a long life or be happy.
Yeah, it's like contradictory. The way I see it is the fact that Level Asian is unpredictable makes it great. But at the same time, the fact that it's unpredictable also makes it a real struggle. But you kind of need both. And they have to pull from each direction in order for this thing to be enjoyable. Because otherwise, like Vinh said, he was like on the podcast, he goes, otherwise, like, what do you think, what is a midlife crisis? A midlife crisis is when, not that I'm going through a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis is something when you know predictably what your rest of your life is going to look like. And that I think that scares people a lot. The fact that we have so much unknown in terms of like what is possible, not just like with Level Asian, but I'm looking at it from the lens of like my own personal life. I feel like I'm just getting started. This is actually very exciting for me. I don't know where it's going to go, but I actually like the direction it's going. So that's just how I'm approaching it.
Yeah, it's crazy because Level Asian hasn't been like for 3 years yet.
Yeah, 18 months.
Yeah, it's only been 18
Halfway.
months.
Yeah,
When you
halfway
think
to
about
3.
it, it's still the beginner stages.
Yeah.
Like it still can fail in the next, you know, 3.
Well, I think about Social Wave at 18
What
months.
is failure though? Like, what do you mean by failure?
I was in like you know, I'm an accountant, so like, you know, 3 years, if it stops running, then that's failure. That's the way it is. Purpose is to inspire the next generation, but after 3 years, it dies out, then that it hasn't really fulfilled its purpose. Yeah.
Anyway, we've still got time.
So it's still infant stage. I'm just saying, like, we're doing really good for infant stages.
Send-
This year has been a huge year for me. A lot of change, a lot of growth. Got to do like some really cool things like speak at South by Southwest, but also like, and be involved like heaps of really cool projects. But also like some personal challenges that I had to navigate as well. But I think overall I'm in a better place than I was at the start of the year than where I am now. And I think a huge reason for that are the people in this room. So I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to everyone for like welcoming me into the family with open...
This is the ugly cousin of Social Wave.
Ugly.
But I have to say something. Like, thank you for like taking the leap to join us. It
was a big decision from my understanding without knowing the full details, because obviously you joined Davie's team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Like,
But he hangs out with our team.
That's both. Hangs out with both.
Thanks for staying on Davie's payroll.
It's funny because like we're giving out awards. This is gonna go out like in a month. But we're giving out awards, and I wanted to give you an award, and the award was the forgotten child. Because we always forget him. He's always with Level Asian.
So we've adopted him. He's taken care of.
But they wouldn't give it to you, so like they had to change the whole award. But anyway,
yeah, but keep going.
But yeah, I think going back to what you said, Davie, I think a big part of like me being in a situation that I wasn't happy in, getting pulled out by that was because of you, and everyone kind of welcomed me, and I felt like a part of the family from like the second weekend. I felt like
Well, what happened the first week, man?
actually no one was there. Yeah, everyone was on shoots. Everyone was shoots and people were sick.
things were going like
It was really busy that
it was
first week.
really tough that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you joined it like the least optimal time of the week of the year. The least optimal week.
Shit
of the
was
year.
going down.
But I think going back to what you guys saying about like finding your purpose, I think this year has helped me spark that and figure out what. Thanks, Viv. Really great. After I was saying how supportive the people here are, thanks, Viv.
Didn't say anything.
Say something real quick as well, because obviously you won't say it yourself, but and I think Davie will agree with me. You actually, in my opinion, you technically made this happen for yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
reached out to us.
He took out.
We went to Dozer Hut.
Yeah,
You know, we were having
and then
like,
planted the seeds. If there's any,
This was a grand master plan by then.
And you shouted dinner.
Yeah.
And then me and Karen sat down. And it's like, is he asking for a job? Or is he? can't really talk. I think he's asking for a job.
I think he's asking for a job, yeah. But yeah, you reached out to us, and we were like, yeah, hell yeah, like we'd love to get to know you. And I think serendipity happens. We were like, man, we need some more South Asian representation as well, and diversity hard, and you timed it without knowing it perfectly.
But besides that, like you proved yourself, like you've done everything that we needed, and to be honest, and I thanked you for it, but like it's a really big opportunity for you to join us. Like we wouldn't be here today without you in the last 6 months. So
we wouldn't have been able to focus more on our businesses without you here, to be honest, because I think you've been helping like run SWEH in the background
definitely.
and just keeping us in check.
Yeah.
And making sure we put enough work, but not too much that'll like take away from other commitments. So yeah, that's been a huge help.
And I'm sure the team.
Fuck was that?
You know how Vinh goes, don't push it away, take it.
Oh, the compliment?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure the team also loves you. Thanks you for being here because you're like the middleman between us.
Yeah, definitely. The
Because you're
conduit.
like the third party coming in. You're like you can see it from the third party point of view. You know what's going wrong, what's going well, and telling us straight. Yeah, and you've ran a podcast before, so you kind of know, the insights. Like,
You embarrassed now?
No, I'm just like feed my ego.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and it's been like so lovely being here. So,
How long's it been?
5 months?
started in June, after June, right? So July. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
July 3rd. Yeah, so it's been about 5 months.
If it just feels like
long.
years, though.
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
Told you, I always have this thing saying when I say to staff, because they always ask me how do you think you're going, and I was like, when you feel like you've worked longer than how long you've actually worked, that's when you're doing well. So like I was like, so if you come back to me in 3 months and you feel like you've worked for a whole year already, then that means that you're doing really well because you're just doing like
Smashing
you feel
through a
so
lot, yeah.
consumed in it already, and you're part of the puzzle in the business already.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Thank you. Let's jump to Kels.
Okay, shit.
I was like,
I just think it's crazy how much we've grown. Like a couple of days ago, it was my 3-year anniversary with social media.
Congrats.
I was like, fuck. A lot's happened. Like,
I need to find a new job, man.
time's running my resignation.
Longest bombshell, man. End of year recap. See ya.
Trying to recall everything, it's just like one big giant like movie for me in my head. And in terms of Level Asian, like it still feels like yesterday where it was just Viv and I crammed in the corner in our old office, like editing. We're like, shit, this is gonna go out like next week. We're gonna hurry up. I think as well, like a highlight for me, I was reflecting over the last couple of days is last week when we had our Level Asian meeting, it was just us four. We were going over like the current direction of the branding and everything, and I kind of had like a light bulb moment, and I realized we already kind of had this similar conversation at the very early stages of the podcast. I'm like, wow, shit, like we're already hitting all these milestones we said we were going to hit. It's almost like, without sounding too woo-woo, like we manifested. And I guess personally, for me, I did go through bouts of burnt out and stuff, and I think I've learned to kind of just switch off, completely similar to Noel. The way I'm wired, I'm very like, I just think.
You're all in, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's like one of the big things for me personally, is being able to switch off and enjoy me, like being me outside of Level Asian Social Wave. Yeah. Tony? Aside being a new dad?
Yes. Baby here who's misbehaving.
Well, I mean, I thought like your partner's pregnant.
Moment for me would have probably been, I guess, kind of seeing everything culminate with the 1 year anniversary event, and when we all kind of just, well, not just us, but like a lot of the guests who attended the podcast, all sit down and kind of watch the video about everything we've done so far, and it felt, to me at the time at least, I guess we kind of moved beyond just surviving and kind of like it's actually something that's manifested in some sort of tangible format, I guess. That and also the Carter event when we all went on stage as well, which Viv has already mentioned. That's, I guess, one thing that it was kind of in my mind over the past few days leading up to this, I guess, was just going beyond this and seeing, I was kind of wondering like what Level Asian content would kind of look like or feel like if we had more, I guess, I wouldn't say user-generated content, but maybe more feedback from the listeners and the audience, maybe from beyond the Australian borders as well, as part of the Level Asian content. And that's where my mind has been at in the last few days as well. So just reflecting on that as part of the year.
Cool. Edwin?
I think the biggest thing, being behind the camera most of the time and listening to a lot of the guests, a common theme was parents and your relationship with parents. So I've always listened to it and I think about it a lot. And I think that actually, like, I subconsciously started making an effort with my own parents and trying to build that relationship a bit more. Yeah, because I still live at home and I was planning to move out this year. But I could tell, like many Asian parents, they really didn't want, like they went out of their way to make sure I didn't, not they didn't go out of their way, but
They like you at home.
yeah, they subconsciously stopped me. Like they would be like, "Oh, why do you need to do that? Just save money, you know, trying to be savvy." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you just want to be home." But so I thought, I'll stay a bit longer until like something really does pop up. But yeah, I think kind of being around this crowd of Asian Australians that come on and they talk about their parents a lot, especially Vin's episode. I was like, I'll make an active effort to build this relationship and not take things too, when you stay at home and people say that your relationship with your parents improve when you move out because you start valuing the time. I just thought, I don't need that. I'm just gonna value the time anyway, and not take everything they say personally. Not like just understand why they say what they say and how they communicate it. So yeah, and then I just did that thing he recommended to start videoing what they say.
Are you doing that?
Yeah, because there are a lot of wild stories, like about the war and like sort of civil war in Indonesia. Not civil war, but like it was like that sort of political tension. It's like, damn, that's wild. My own parents went through that. Their friends went through that. So I'm just like asking them about it a lot, and yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I have a similar story. If you don't mind me jumping in. Yesterday, 2 days ago at the Christmas party, my dad calls me up at 11 o'clock p.m. and I was like freaking out, going, "Why is my parents calling me at 11?" And they call me up and they're like, "David, it's really hot. We need the aircon to be turned on. Can you switch it to cold because it's on heat right now?" And they don't know how to turn it on, switch it to cold. I was like, "Fine, I'll come." Like, because I knew it was gonna be really, really hot the next day. I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll come in the morning and make sure I do it." So I woke up in the morning, drive all the way there. It took me like half an hour to an hour to get ready and get there. I get there and then it's already switched to cold. The only thing that my dad wanted me to do was teach it to move left and right. And normally I would get so angry at him because I'm like, "You made me drive all the way here to just turn it left and right? Like, seriously?" And then I was like, you know what? It's a funny story. Let's just leave it as that. My dad probably just wants to see me. And if he doesn't want to see me, who cares? I'm just going to believe the fact that he wants to see me.
It's a narrative you tell yourself.
I'm like, okay, bye. Again, I'm like, I switched it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave that. See you guys.
Yeah. Actually, funny, real quick, not to take up too much time, but when we celebrated Hudson's first birthday, my mum came over and like Kathy was there, so she knows what this was. She was like a freaking hurricane. She comes through and she's got like 3 massive like cooler bags of just like groceries, food. Like she thinks like we
Starve?
we starve. And she was just like, "Okay, I brought this for you." And then she like shoves it in the fridge and then got this. Make sure you put this in the freezer. And it was ridiculous. And normally I lose my shit as well. And I just sat there and I looked at my dad and my dad like gave me a look. And then it was like one of those ones where it's just like, just take it. She makes her feel good. It's not about you. And if that's good, then you're doing your mum a favor. And I was just like, okay, all right. And then, I mean, on top of it, there was like everyone was over at the house. And I was just like, it was Hudson's first birthday. I just didn't want to cause a scene. But it was just like one of those things where, love language is very different. And we struggle with that. But the second thing is like, sometimes you just got to accept it, do what you do. And yeah,
I've learned it so much of that from like listening in the podcast,
yeah,
talking to people in the podcast too. So I'm same with you, man. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, sorry not to. Yeah. Well, actually, I have one highlight, Edwin, which is just funny to break it up.
Not to take up too much time.
Was just because you remember this. He had really bad sinus one episode. And who was the guest?
No, Michelle. I think it was Michelle.
He had really bad sinus. He had his headphones on, so he couldn't hear anything. Like, couldn't hear himself. And his sinus must have just opened up, and he could hear like the most serious conversation with Michelle, and the whole fucking room stopped. And then he didn't even realize. And then we just stopped and we looked at him, and he's like, "What did he say?" He goes,
Just my nose.
He's like, I'm sorry, it's just my nose.
I was blowing my nose and then I heard it. I heard it in my, you know when you hear it in your head, but yeah, but you're like, you don't think anyone else can hear it. And I was like, oh, you guys heard that? Oh, shit. It was like,
So funny.
There must have been bad ciders too.
yeah, I was trying to blow my nose. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's keep going.
That's cute.
Mish?
I think just like learning from everybody, especially like, you know how we're all kind of like young here, so everyone's just got like really creative like ideas.
Are we?
I think we are. Our median age is probably like 25, I think.
We look at the Christmas party. Everyone is young. Like, I was like, dude, these guys are like a whole bunch of young people.
Yeah,
it's like we're in high school again. Like I felt like
the median age of our team is like 28, 29.
That's still young. That's very young.
Well, okay, still relatively young, right? Yeah, and then just like, even just learning from yourself, Davie, Noel, and Ken, and operating the business, and even like just sitting in meetings and how you like talk to the clients and just like learn all the communication skills. Just like absorbing a lot of that learning. It's been like really, really, I think like I sometimes took it for granted and I'm like, oh no, this is like a space where I can learn and, you know, just absorb all that information. And I think that's like something I'm really, really grateful for. I think for my personal goals, like, you know, buying my new car, haven't really gone on a lot of camping yet, just like small picnics, but maybe in the future I'd like love to kind of like travel all across Australia. I think like a lot of times like social media or like even friends are like, you gotta go overseas and, you know, go to Europe or like Asia. I'm like, no, I wanna explore Australia. Like, I feel like I want to like go across different states and road trip. That's like one of my goals in the future, yeah. And otherwise, like just learning like all the really like having like good friendships, and I think that's like a really something that I never really had in my previous jobs. Like it'll just be like, yep, after 5, go home, all that. But here it's more like that camaraderie that we have, learning about other families, and I think that's like something that I didn't have before. And I'm like, here it's like everyone's just like really bonded really well. Yeah.
Same wavelength.
Yeah.
Kathy?
So nice.
For me, I think it's like watching Level Asian grow. As Ken and I talked about Level Asian before it all started, and same with the Way series, and then it's just watching it all fall in place now, and I can see the growth and get feedback from people. They're like, oh, when's the next Way like series going out, or the next event going out, or when's merch dropping? And it's like, oh, keep your eye out kind of thing. Yeah. And then just like really thankful for the marketing team. I think we get along really well, and I feel really, really supported. And, you know, even though we don't see each other every day, it's, you know I can reach out all the time, and you guys will be there for me.
So, who's the marketing team? Isn't the marketing team the whole social wave?
Our little marketing team within Social Wave.
The Level Asian marketing team in particular. Who's
that? Isn't that everyone? I feel like that's like basically everyone in social wave.
Everyone but Davie.
So to wrap up, I want each of you to share just very quickly one thing that you're looking forward to or that you want out of 2024.
I'll start first because I got practice on this. I already had my team meeting.
Yeah.
I had my team meeting and I said this. Let's not focus about the money or the numbers. Let's focus on making more babies.
You said that? Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah. Because I just said to the team, like, we've been around for 7 years. We've grown the business. We've hit all the targets. We've done all this stuff. And I know every one of you guys want to start a family right now. Let's focus on starting a family together. Yeah.
My team's too young for that right now. Maybe in about 5 years' time. Yeah.
So hopefully you guys see some good news in the new year with all the girls at our firm. And you can see a lot more babies except for like the
fur ones.
The fur babies.
I'm burping it.
Oh man, I'm the opposite. I'm like, yo, buy our merch. That merch store's going on. I want to see people wearing that stuff on the street. You know, more sponsorships. Millon wines coming through with the
Shout out to Amy.
Yeah, honestly, I like collaborating with more like really cool people. You're also taking Level Asian to the like global market and actually getting, you know, speaking to all our heroes from the US and the UK that we've like been wanting to speak to for a long time. So growing that network. and yeah, seeing how far we can take this. Personally, is there a personal aspect to this question?
This question is purely personal.
Personal.
Oh, it's personal. Oh.
Hey, just take more breaks, man. Take some
Yeah,
holidays.
actually take more breaks. I want to go on another holiday. So, yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Japan and Korea 2024, baby. Let's make it happen.
Japan, Korea. Game. Should there be
Vietnam? Oh yeah, I'll get there too. Like I've read a bit of Vietnam, but yeah.
Have you tried like working and traveling at the
No,
same
I
time?
can't. It's
Too hard?
It's too hard.
For me, I think I would like to just be more present next year. I know that things get really, really busy, but just being very conscious to pull myself aside and just reflect, take the time to process and just take the time to not go at a constant speed always and just enjoy doing the hobbies that I really like enjoying, which is like pottery, reading, all of that, and just diving into that a lot more.
So yeah, I'll do one personal, one professional. So professional, I'm actually looking forward to us helping Vinh bring his workshop to Sydney, which is massive for us. But also I think to Davie's point around, we hit a rough patch with Social Wave and then we've picked ourselves back up since then. The goal next year is to continue to create a whole bunch of stability in the business. And I would like to incorporate more flexibility for everyone next year, whether that's travel, work life, whatever everyone's goals are. I think personally, I also want to incorporate more.
Sorry, that's pay rises, right, to everyone.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, the business is doing well.
The
Why
accountant
not?
says that's not on the cards yet.
I tried, guys. I tried.
Fucking put me on the spot on live TV. No, I'm just kidding. And then I think personally, I actually would like to do more travel. And I think because of newborn and then fur child, house, all sorts of things like that, it's been the thing that has been shafted, even though I've always really wanted to do it as well. So I think next year I'm going to try and do a lot more trips, hopefully. And I think we're going to try and see if we can go to the Philippines and visit our team as well. So that's something that might be on the cards.
Oh,
as well.
really? Cool. Hit me up.
Davey's like, can I come?
Yeah, he's already said it. He's like, when?
What are you looking forward to?
I've got a bunch of creative ideas that I want to execute next year. So it's been cool to kind of like bounce ideas off Viv and Noel and like the rest of the team as well. I think there's a lot I want to execute on next year, and I think it's cool having people and resources to kind of bounce ideas off of and yeah, kind of brainstorm.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing it all.
Let's do it. Just to wrap up, to look forward to for Level Asian next year, we have the Lunar New Year event at Hojiak with Junda, also featuring Nil Kolhaka and Sharina. We're bringing Stage Academy to Sydney. The merch store relaunch, Asian Hustle Network events potentially in the cards, and then as normal, a stellar lineup of guests, but also more solo eps to get to hear more of your stories and your opinions, and some new and cool content that's going to come out as well next year. I know this is what we're saying now, but there's going to be like a heap more stuff to come, so stay tuned. I just want to thank everyone for a really wholesome recap episode. Let's do it again in 2024.
Woo.
And before we clap, two things. Just wanted to say, I think it's a collective here. Like, we want to say a big, big thank you to our audience, the community that has supported us, because really team, like, we can't actually do it without the community and the support, the 70K, the 50K, like everything, everyone that comes to these events, buys our merch, sponsors us, whatever it might be. So we just wanted to say thank you to you guys and continue supporting us through next year and the years beyond.
Happy New Year! Done.
You're people who are doing things they love with people they love. And I can feel it. That's not nothing. That's everything.
Thanks for listening to the Level Asian podcast. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the episode. And why not share it with friends and family who might enjoy it too? Also, make sure you head over to levelasianpodcast.com to join our email list and to receive the latest updates and get notified when the next episode drops. Catch you on the next episode.